folks, I'm back. It's the end of session. The main video footage, the FNaF World RPG, was not the intended footage, to be honest. It was something else. But you will see that in future Flosstube episodes. Trust me, it's just I haven't finished sorting it out. And since I decided that, I really wanted a shot of the Five Nights at Freddy's RPG game, I thought, well, I've recorded that the day. It's all edited, ready to go. I'm going to use that. If anyone out there has ever played or seen the Five Nights at Freddy's survival horror franchise or has any family members, then you'll likely have an understanding of it. But that particular game, if you notice, is like kind of more kid friendly and it's an RPG. And although I know fine well I'll be no good at the main series whatsoever because it's point and click for the most part. Occasionally you do have to use buttons on the keyboard. I don't do keyboard controls very much. In fact, I don't know if you noticed while I was playing that RPG demo, or the demo of the RPG, Freddy Fazbear, the character I was controlling, it was like struggling to walk around at times, and that's because I do not do keyboard controls. If it was arrow keys to move, it'd be nice, but it's the WASD, which is kind of like the standard for keyboard controls. That's one of the reasons why when it came to Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 1, Henry had this habit of walking into walls because it's the exact same movement controls. It's the same 4 buttons. And my left hand, well, as you can see, how my fingers move on my left hand, they don't exactly, here's your comparison. There's my right hand, and there's my left hand. Because of the spasticity in it, they tend to not move separately, which makes controlling them awkward. In fact, the times that he did move around properly, it's me, instead of using my left hand, I switched to my right hand. I had the keyboard, because I was using the PC, I had the keyboard balance on my knee. And I was trying to hold it making sure I held it in place with my left hand, and I'm like that with my right hand, and then switching over to the mouse that was to the side of me. When it came to the battles, it was all over the show. Hopefully, future FNaF World videos will be a bit better. Also, speaking of the demo, apologies for it being slightly jumpy at places and the audio seeming to be out of sync. I'm not sure why it recorded like that, because when I actually did the main saving of the video and cutting out all the load screens, hence why the audio might have slightly jumped a bit. When you have the load screens, which is the bit with the character pictures, tells you their name and a little one-line description. And that's one thing I noticed was that the audio did seem to go weird. I'm actually thinking of restarting the demo, trying to try it out again. I'm going to have to keep hold of the raw video though, because apparently that first cutscene at the beginning of the game where you had the 2 eyes and the text, that only shows up when you first load up the game. So it's a case of, if you don't capture it on video, tough. I think you have to reinstall your game, or if you have other devices you can play it on, load it up on one of them. Now, technically, the game doesn't get installed on PCs, etc., because it's a game jolt one. You get the straight off execution, the .exe, just main game file. You don't have a general folder. It just downloads the game for you. So, because the creator of the game, Scott Cawthon, he actually has a page on the indie game hosting site GameJolt. Originally the game was actually up on Steam, one of the main PC game hosting sites, and the same site that I got Bendy and Ink Machine from. And and Scanner Somber and stuff, if I remember rightly. But it was originally up on there, but some folk weren't too pleased with certain aspects of the game. Like, some people came across bugs, other people didn't like the fact that in the trailer it showed stuff like the sort of 3D models like you saw during the battle, but then you have the overworld that's all 8-bit, which is the look of it's based off the 8-bit mini games from the main core series of Five Nights at Freddy's games, and a lot of people were like, about that, so it didn't exactly get the best of the reviews by some people. Some folk absolutely loved it, and other folk were like, And apparently the ones that were a bit iffy about it outnumbered the ones that really enjoyed it. So Scott was like, "Nah, I'm taking this off. I'm getting it sorted." So he updated it a couple of times and put on Game Jolt. So in fact, it was not only released for Windows, it was also released for the Android devices. And I managed to get a copy of that. I had to download that I want to download that as well. That, by default, I believe is the same version as what the demo was, the 1.0. Because the actual PC version is up to 1.24, I think it's called, but it's just known as the Update 2. So I got itchy eyes for no reason. I've got grit or whatever stuck in them. Yeah, looks like it. But, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's all that. Yeah, I'm better at the RPG, or better off sticking with the RPG than I am with the main core series of point and click, or press certain buttons on the keyboard as well, or make sure you're listening for sounds, because yes, I have headphones on, but during gameplay it's only if I'm doing like co-commentary with someone that I actually have headphones on during the actual gameplay recording. So, and depending on what I'm recording, sometimes I have the music muted. Well, I don't necessarily have the music muted, but to me it's muted. Like, for example, if I'm playing retro Sega games on the Mega Drive emulator, well, it's just general Sega System emulator, I select it as disable audio. Yeah, because it's counted system audio, it still gets picked up by the recorder, so that's kind of cool. Not to mention it's an internal recorder for the emulator. Anyway, on to the main event. I can't find my original picture doing of that sheep picture I was working on. It's underneath my bed somewhere. But I did pull out all my various attempts of like trying to redo the picture, shall we say. My first attempt being this one. My second attempt being this one. This is when I tried diagonal stitching, and I used red pen to mark it, and I think the red pen was coming through there or something. Aye, didn't matter which colour it was, you can definitely see the red pen going around it, so I decided no. I think that first one I gave up with because my brain just wasn't wanting to know. I think, if I remember it, that's where I tried doing single stitches, the one stitch at a time, one block at a time, and my brain just kept resorting back to my usual, going all over the show and who knows what else. My third attempt, again diagonal stitching. In this case I got pencil. I used pencil for marking at the grid, and it was going well, and I can't remember the reason why I stopped that one. Oh, I remember why. It's because that was still fractionals, as the actual picture is supposed to be. But I found the fractionals were being awkward. Sorry. It was like, as I was trying to do certain stitches and everything, it's like, when doing the fractionals, it's like there were like certain other stitches, especially if it was like the end of a thread or whatever, kept getting pulled out, and they kept stopping each other, like the needle from going through, so I ended up stopping that. And then my fourth and final attempt at doing the sheep picture. It finally got finished. I did the whole thing. As you can see, even from the back. You can hardly tell what it is from the back, actually. It just looks like some sort of abstract art. But I finally did it. I did it all full stitches. I didn't bother with fractionals, and it looks just as good as if it had fractionals. And there seems to be like weird odd dots where like the sheep and horse's eyes are. They're supposed to be French knots, but I think I pulled them too small, so they just look like a you know, tried putting a little bit of floss in, like at the edge and then in the centre, when in fact it was French knots. They went absolutely tiny. In fact, I think there's only like 2 or 3 French knots that are actually that stick. Sorry. Excuse me. I think there's only like 2 or 3 French knots that actually stick out. So, but the picture's done. As such, I was working on a different one. The folks in the For the Love of Diagonal cross-stitching group, or diagonal stitching, I've forgotten the name of it, but it's a Facebook group started by fellow Flosstuber Karen Bug of the Needlebug of the channel The Needlebug, and that is it. I went into the group and I asked fellow members, like, which of the other 3 pictures should I do next, and one of them chose the one that I'd purchased. The one that I'd finally managed to get. Hand wash only. When finished, it's supposed to look like that, bound in at full stitches as well, so, oops. It's going to look slightly different. And once again, I'm doing it diagonal, because I enjoyed that. And in that 20 to 30, well, about 25-30 minutes worth of video footage, I did that. Not much, but I did that. And it'll be difficult to see because of how I stitch on the front, not in the well. And there's the back. As you can tell, it's, yeah, just started. But I've done some of the sky. I think it's supposed to be sunset or daybreak or something. The sun is over here, and it's sort of an orangey colour. But it's just the way the light goes over it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like coming up for sunset or if it's daybreak. I don't know. It's just how Thomas painted it. So, well, it's good though. Quite a few of the colours are the same colours as with the first picture. So I was able to use the same, using the same floss, for example. Here's the actual floss I'm currently using, and it's actually supposed to be less on there than there is. So, then again, I did also, because I had the various colours in my big stash of colours, I mostly used them anyway, so. Because when it came to recycling the floss from the last picture, it was what was left over from that initial attempt. So, so I've got that plus the actual floss that came with this kit. And as you can see from the squares on the back, this isn't the actual fabric that came with the kit. Same usual 14 count, but it's a different fabric. That's one of my cuts from like my large white. I have no clue what I did with the other one. I think it's under the bed somewhere. Yeah. In fact, for those that didn't mind seeing, I'm going to say for those that didn't mind seeing patterns, because the page map's on the bottom half. If you don't like seeing patterns, ignore the bottom half of this page. But otherwise, if it helps, that's the picture I'm doing. Hand wash only. And ignore the sort of way the ears and that are going for the sheep. That's because I forgot, when it came to printing off the stuff, I forgot to change it to whole stitches. But when I printed off my not my full copy version, my working copy version, I made sure to correct all those. Because I actually, when it came to put it on the computer, I put it as it is on the regular symbol chart, which in itself took a while because I can't see the blooming things. It all meshes together. And then I, like, as I'm going, I put the back stitching in as well. And then I just, if I want the fractionals to be whole, I change them to whole, and vice versa. If there's whole stitches, I want it to be fractional. And then I adjust the Like back stitching as where necessary. But apart from that, it's the exact same picture. But yeah. What I worked on was the top corner. So yeah. That was that. For those that didn't look at the picture, you can look now because the pattern, it's gone. There's no viewable page map pattern thing anymore. Because I got my working copy here. I started colouring in as I worked on it. Anyway, I better sign off because the lighting's going to be, I think, is getting atrocious. So, until the next time, and you'll most likely see more progress on this picture. And who knows what the main video footage will be. we'll find out ourselves. Thank you for watching Flosstube number 50, if I remember right the number is. Not bad. I know a lot of people do better stuff for their 50th video, but it's another Flosstube video as far as I'm concerned. It's just another number. So, anyway.